Welcome to Superangel Insights next session. And today I'm really honored to have here Paavo Räisänen from Makivc. And we are going to talk about how Makivc invests in startups and what they are looking at in the startups. And as always, I like to do my homework, so I checked up the Makivc website, and I'm going to give a quick overview of what did I find out. So Makivc fund is a size of 80 million. They have made 25 investments. They have 2 founding partners and 74 LPs. They are very the focus is from pre-seed to Series A. They invest in Nordics and Baltics, but they have global mandates, so they are looking for talent all around the world. Regarding industries, they are investing into 2 types of startups: deep tech startups, where they look for scientific advances beyond convention, and brand-driven customer understanding is beyond convention is required there. With Paavo, we are going to talk about the deep tech side of the business, where Paavo is making the investments and looking for startups. And in general, they're looking for startups which are challenging the category norms. Investment sweet spot, depending on the size, in pre-seed seed, it's from 200K, and Series A, it's up to 3 mil. The value add they provide to startups is sharing knowledge on demand, as they have both the core team of Makivc and also the 74 LPs who have a lot of them have great experiences. They are co-host of Talking Tech podcast, which now has moved to Clubhouse sessions, and one of them is going to be on Wednesday, if I'm not wrong. And their main value add is post-investment support. The main areas they are strong are marketing, customer success, brand thinking, and recruiting. And how to reach: email and intros from other VCs and other startups are always way to go. So Paavo, was it about right about the Makivc?
Absolutely. Hey, thanks, Kalev. Nice to be here, and yeah, very good homework. So I think that was a great intro.
Thank you. I would go into this one sentence I found, this category disruption, or that you are looking for deep tech startups who are disrupting the category, doing something different. What does it actually mean? What should a startup have in order to convince you that they are the category disruptors?
Yeah, so really looking for some scientific advantages or breakthroughs that can make a big impact and become like really big business. So if you take as an example, Spinnova, our deep tech company in our portfolio, so they are developing textile fiber, new type of textile fiber that they are able to do it from cellulose without any chemicals, and overall like really the most sustainable way that you can ever do it. So that's like maybe the most extreme case that you can think of.
Okay. So technological advantage, that you can do stuff nobody else in your category can do. Does it like inventing a totally new product category? It's usually very hard. But it's like easier that you come up with new stuff inside the category which gives you advantage over the competitors. Just as an example, in Estonia, the startup Click and Grow, they had long time trouble because retail chains couldn't put them into a right shelf. It was kind of a planned thing, but it wasn't. It was like electronics, and so you were like in some shops you were in the plant section, in this other shops you were in electronics section, and the customers had like a hard time finding you in the shops. So that this is like really creating a new product category that where it's really hard to place, and you need lots of marketing power to do it. How do you look at it from Makivc point?
Yeah, so I think it doesn't have to be like totally new category necessarily, but at least you need to have like a big enough like advantage. So if you take the same as Spinnova example, for example, so then you're still doing clothes from the textile fiber, and the end usage for the product is the same, but from the sustainability point of view, then it's on the totally new level compared to any like alternatives out there.
So tech is important for you, that there is a like hopefully patented solution. What else are you looking for in deep tech startups?
Yeah, maybe for the tech side still. So this it doesn't need to be necessarily patented. Of course, it's great if they can transfer some IP from example, from university or somewhere else. But then it can be also some like that you are able to utilize some open source components and then build something on top of it. So like in general, like if we are talking about the R&D, so making sure that it's not just R but also the D part there. So I think that's the way to go. But yeah, on top of the tech side, so then I think for the deep tech also, so although it's always interesting to like develop technology in sake of developing technology, but really what we would like to see is that the team has like a clear idea on the initial customer segments, maybe done some validation with them, some maybe would be great if they have some proof of concept. Of course, sometimes it can be difficult to expect that. Like we have a company called IQM in our portfolio. They are building quantum computers, so then it's hard to like expect that they would have the first customer already in place before investing to them. But
that's
really,
very cool case. Like still, like as you said, that with quantum computers especially, it can be all about R and very little about D, development and understanding of a customer needs. That how in that case the team was able to convince that there is some market out there they are capable of selling to, or what was the proof from market side what you were looking for?
Yeah, so I think in their case there had been a lot of this R part at the university and the research institute. So the team is a spin-off from the Aalto University and PTT in Finland, and so they had like a lot of existing IP on top of which they started to build this like really more like putting all the pieces together when forming the company. So that was the basis, that really like having super solid like a credible background from the research side. So then it was more credible that they are able to do the D part as well.
Okay, so that if you are in real hardcore deep tech, then how to compensate if you can't show, like in quantum computers, you can't show some letters of intent from potential customers, or that we have running pilots or something like this, then you have to prove that your team is so strong and like one of the best in the world in what you're doing, that then for the investor side it compensates that you are not there yet, that you can show me a pilot, absolutely, and so forth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so we slightly got from like technical side to this market validation and to a team. That so what are you looking for in a team? That, as you mentioned in case of IQM, that the team in terms of capability of doing the research side, that the technological competencies inside the team. But that's probably not the only thing. That if there's only a bunch of researchers and there's nobody in the team who can do the D, then probably you wouldn't invest. Or
yeah, I think that's always in this like super deep tech case is the most challenging part is the team, and really like especially when you are doing a spin-off from some university or research institute. So then because of course in the ideal world you would have really the team with the complementary skills in place, so having also the sales skills already from the day one, and the marketing skills as well in place. But I think it can't really expect that they would have always from the day one if we are doing like really the first ticket and the seed ticket, and then it's also our job to help them to build the team. But what is the most important thing is that they have the right attitude. So really having the willingness to learn and being coachable. So I think the IQM team, I think that's really a good example of that they've been like developing their business skills so quickly during the past couple of years that if the team has just the right attitude, then they can do it.
You mentioned a very cool thing that right attitude, at willingness to learn and be coachable. How do you validate it? Like you meet a team, they send you a pitch deck, you have an interview. How can the team show that they are coachable and they can learn?
Yeah, I think this is definitely something that I need to like all the time think like how to validate it better and better. But it's like quite often when you have like multiple meetings with the team, then you're giving feedback on the certain things, and then you see how they react and what type of conversation are you having with the team when thinking about some like less certain decisions and so on. So are they really like open to new ideas and at least like analyzing them carefully and so on, or just neglecting all the ideas immediately. So I think that based on the conversation you get some kind of a feeling, but of course it's not any kind of like it's really hard to assess.
Yeah, it's not a hard science, but definitely so what I got from you is that as a startup, your first reaction shouldn't be to neglect, but to try to analyze why this question was asked or why this suggestion was made, and then decide that do you act upon it, or you say that for these reasons it doesn't work for us.
Yeah, I think it's definitely like having the curious mindset and open to new ideas that will always pay off in the long term, because quite often you need to do these things. Okay, you have made some decision earlier, but maybe you need to do it still in the different way at some point.
Tech, market traction or validation, team, openness, willingness to learn. What else are you looking on in deep tech startups?
Well, yeah, I think where we started was this having the breakthrough that can make a big impact and having like the big market potential. So that's of course there as well. But I think those are and in the tech side, then having the IP side somehow covered. So either like transferring that from somewhere, or then like building on top of some open IP.
How much deep tech startups, especially if they're doing something radical, they should explain to you how they can protect themselves against the competitors? But this is like a typical thing that if I'm a small startup, I do something unique, then anybody can say that, oh, well, Google can do it in like 5 months if they want to, and how are you going to protect yourself against if you're building, let's say, on open source stuff, and you don't have like a particular patent behind it? Have you seen this kind of problem that the deep tech startups don't understand the competition landscape very well, and from investor side, it's difficult to evaluate because they don't know about the competition very much?
Yeah, very good question. So I think yeah, definitely for some type of deep tech startups, this can be like a valid concern. But then on the other hand, you can never like underestimate the slowness of the big companies. So I think it's like okay, many investors can play that card, and maybe that's also one way to like check like how the team reacts to this type of question that okay, so anyone can build this easily. So then like it can be also like a way to test that okay, what is really the unique IP there, and do they have like really like especially good competencies and knowledge about the product that they are going to build. So that they need to like kind of being able to elaborate that okay, what is difficult here and why you are doing something that anyone else can't. And then if it's easier to copy, then it's about the execution. So then like showing that you are able to like execute faster than anyone else and having a good story around that one. So of course, like more or less anything in the world can be like copied, and you need to have the quick execution power anyway.
Very, very wise words. What would be your recommendation? What you see how the deep tech startups who approach you, what they do wrong about pitching their startup or their idea? What could they do better in order to make it?
Yeah, I think this the customer side. So sometimes you can spend quite a lot of time to go through the pitch and investor materials without really seeing the customer anywhere.
Okay.
So if you love the technology too much, then you might forget that okay, there's someone for whom you are building the solution. So having really this the customer value propositions and that type of things thought through. So that's definitely something. And then of course, if you take that a bit further, so then you can really impress us if you have some brand thinking in place as well. So not just having not just telling that okay, this is the customer segment or end user application where this technology can be used, but then you can also tell a bit more about the story around why this could become like a great brand in addition to being like a great technology.
So this brand side, even if you look at deep tech startups, you would still expect them to understand that, let's take Intel. That Intel had also brand logo on every box what was shipped, every computer which was shipped with Intel processor. It's you could say that it's a deep tech company at that time, deep tech. And with a brand concept that how to make our technological advantages visible. So is this something like on that line?
Yeah, so I think okay, maybe again something that you can't always expect to have in place when like doing the seed investment, but at least that the team would be like open for this and curious and like really understanding that it is important to build the brand as well, so that they are not like downplaying the marketing side, because I think that's a very common mistake from the deep tech startups that they are starting to invest to marketing like too late. It will be definitely like wise to do the investments early on and building like the strong position there on the minds of the potential customers and investors.
Very cool. So we already got to like a few things which you mentioned about how Makivc can help with the value add. That you mentioned about helping to build a team, like recruiting the sales and marketing guys and business developers, that you don't always, or let's put it the other way. You can accept investing into startups who miss some bits and parts of this sales and marketing team side. Then also the brand thinking, like telling setting up or integrating a brand thinking into a deep tech company, and other topics were customer success, and yeah, we talked about mentioned the marketing several times already. So how is Makivc helping with these topics for startups after you have made the investment?
Yeah, so if I start from the brand side and the marketing, so really our, like I said, that our team believes that the most like interesting companies are able to combine the deep technical know-how with the superior brand. And in practice, how we help them to do it is that as an example, as part of our onboarding process, so when we have done the investment and then onboarding the company to our portfolio, so we arrange brand labs, so sessions where we help them to define or clarify their brand together with some experts. I think that has been really good addition to our offering, that we are doing this investment in the beginning, so that then we make sure that at least they start to think about it, and then maybe fixing like the most obvious issues in the brand building like early on.
What have you seen? What are the most common things what need to be need fixing in deep tech startups?
I think it's quite often about really clarifying and simplifying the key messages around value propositions. So to whom and why are you building this, and what are the, because if you have like a team of technical founders, so then they might be like explaining things in the too complex manner, and talking too much about the technology and too little about the benefits of the technology, for example.
Yeah, it's my favorite, April Dunford, having a book, obviously awesome, and have been working with different deep tech startups. She also emphasizes that you have to get from features to benefits to value. That in most cases, the customer, like in case of cameras, we assume that the more megapixels you have, it's the better. But in this case, the customer also already converts more megapixels into the value, which is more clear and crisp pictures. I can print them out and so forth.
Right.
But in many cases, the customer has no concept what this benefit means. That why is it good to have more megapixels? I have no idea. So you have to actually sell the value. That okay, so what can I do with more megapixels, which is a benefit of my technical advancements in photography or some optics or whatever. Not.
Yeah, I think that's a good example, that in the early 2000s, when the first digital cameras arrived and so on, so then everyone was marketing with the megapixels, and nowadays then it's not that much anymore. In when you're buying some new smartphones, so then they are more communicating about the benefits of with the pictures that this type of pictures you can get with the camera.
Yeah, so we talked about during onboarding, you have a brand lab session where to help clarify and fix some stuff for the startups.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, then we are running communities for our marketing professionals, or the marketing professionals of our portfolio companies. So bringing them together so that they can also share their best practices and lessons learned, and helping each other. So we hired like beginning of this year a platform and marketing manager to our team, Reetta Heiskanen, and she's been doing a great job there, like bring these people together and yeah, not just for the marketing, but now also for the like a customer success side. So that's another area where we have started these activities.
So these are like kind of mastermind groups where same level guys come together. So maybe somebody is a step ahead, somebody is a step behind, and they can share experiences, how we did this or that, what works, what doesn't, and something like this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think overall in this, like, yeah, in startups, when you need to like multiply the size of your business every year, so then you need to reinvent all the functions like on the fly and all the time. So whatever we can do to like accelerate that learning process and being a bit ahead of the game. So if we can bring some ideas that, okay, you're going to face this type of challenges in the near future. So think about those and ask from the persons who have really solved those earlier. So I think that's really beneficial. I think the customer success is a good example of that. So quite often, like you invest a lot of R&D and then in the sales, and then suddenly when the sales is able to close a lot of deals, then you start to have problems with some like on the customer success side and need to have this like after sales support and helping to onboard the customers and so on. And if you don't have the customer success function in place, then you are like putting the pressure on the R&D, and then they are not able to build the next generation product, and that can be like a really bad like a dynamics for the company.
That's very insightful. I have never thought about it, that if you fail in your startup with customer success support, then it puts extra pressure on the R&D unit, and it's much more expensive to fix the customer success problems at the R&D level than to fix them at the sales and customer success level. You get the right customers through the door, and their expectations are managed well, and they get what they expected, and you take care of nitty-gritty conflicts and differences in what the expectations were and provide. Very cool. Yeah, I like it a lot. This is something we at Superangel also just started with sales mastermind group. We kind of nudged and helped to put it together, first one, and it's totally led by the community themselves, like the sales managers. So we don't intervene. We just supported it with kind words and some initial putting the first group together. So yeah, awesome to hear that these practices are practiced also by other VCs. Really cool. So what other cool stuff you do that I'm already very excited about?
Yeah, so then well, I think then also like arranging some events about some like a really like matters that are common across the portfolio. So like trainings and this type of things. So for example, last week there was a session about like EU soft funding, the EIC grants, and how to apply for them, because there was the renewal there. So I think that's something that benefits like many portfolio companies. So it makes sense to, instead of everyone figuring out themselves that okay what to do, then we arrange like a session to under training for that, or then about some like legislative changes and so on. And I think well, overall our team also is a combination of different skills. So I have like a strategy and business development background and been an entrepreneur as well, and then we have like Pirkka has been a CTO of a publicly listed cybersecurity company, F-Secure, and Ilkka has the most experience in and Pauline has marketing and communications background. So also within our team, we've been trying to build it in a way that we are able to like support the portfolio companies in many different issues or matters that they will face during their journey.
How you mentioned that recruiting is also something you help with. How does that work?
Yeah, so I think for recruiting, I think the most valuable is definitely this, that like really identifying the recruiting needs in advance and like thinking what type of person should be recruited to certain role. I think this customer success example that I told earlier, that's one thing that really like seeing this upcoming issue in advance and building the customer success function like early enough. So that's something. And then maybe another example could be like in marketing, many people are like hiring 2 junior marketing people, and also for the like finance function. So if you hire like 2 junior person as the first person for that function, so then it's really challenging because then there's no one from whom they can learn from. So really like making sure that they are recruiting the right caliber persons for the certain positions. I think that is the most valuable thing that we can bring to the table. And then of course in the best cases we can provide some concrete recruiting support from our network. So you can't expect that we will recruit we will fill out all the positions that you have open, but in the best case that there's, for example, for one portfolio company, we have helped them they have found like a CFO, then the director of business development and VP of product via our network.
Very nice. I like this distinction that hire the right person, and that sometimes in startups that it is meaningful to hire more senior guys than you are with marketing and finance. With marketing, of course, what I've seen is that the CEO should learn enough or know enough about the marketing in order to give a right direction to the marketing CMO. That this is something what we at Superangel are also trying to do, that the guys who are hiring the CMOs, that they will understand marketing themselves enough that they can give right tasks to the CMO. If it doesn't work, that if you as a founder don't understand anything about marketing and you hire somebody that, hey, he has like 10 years of experience in building marketing in startups, and you have no idea what you want, never going to work. But yeah, not being afraid of senior guys. I just had a chat with Meri Rebane. She's a co-founder of Insmo. It's a insurance tech startup operating in Germany. And they hired their first sales and marketing guys from competitors. Like they did the headhunting and took the really senior guys from competitors. And the reason she says that it's possible to do is that you can, if you are already slightly funded and there's no threat of you going bankrupt tomorrow, and the senior guys are really interested in doing something with their life, especially if they are in their late 30s and 40s, that they look at their birthday and say, hey, there's so few years I can be like really highly productive and do some crazy risky stuff. So I would want to leave my mark. And what they found is that it's actually quite easy to hire senior guys to a startup if you already have some funding rounds under your belly. And she was highly recommending it for startups. That not to be afraid of approaching senior guys and inviting them to your startup.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's definitely a good advice, and like too often for this type of functions, especially like people are hiring too junior.
So we have talked about what you're looking for in deep tech startups. We talked about the value add you provide to startups. Is there something I haven't asked you yet, which is you think is important to cover?
Yeah, that's very good question. Well, I think yeah, and you made also great intro in the beginning, like laying out all the like basics of our fund and our operations. So in that sense, I think we have covered it very well. So in the like in the value add side, of course, then the basic duties of the VCs. So then also like supporting in the upcoming rounds and so on, like connecting with the international investors and so on. That's of course also something that is really at the core of our operations.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I remember one question I wanted to ask. That you with a reason very proud of your 74 LPs,
Mm-hmm.
and you list some of them also as advisors on your website. How does that work? That even if you have like 25 startups in a portfolio, not all of them can start to harass like most top-notch advisors. So how are you matching the startups with LPs who are willing to advise portfolio startups?
Yeah, I think that comes quite naturally in a way that okay, some LPs have like yeah, because they have always like certain type of background, certain industries that they know very well or so on. So then it's just like our job to always like remember that okay, who will be like the right person from our LP base to help this company in this situation. And yeah, I think that's really the benefit of having like the diverse LP base. So we have this like a successful startup entrepreneurs. Also, we have well some family offices with like industrial backgrounds, but then also some like a really world-class like AI researchers, cybersecurity, this type of capabilities in the like LP base. So I think yeah, that's definitely something that it's hard to like promise anything to the startups that you will always find some help, but it has been like super useful to have them there, and when they help, then it's like totally something that will be hard to get from anywhere else.
To starting to wrap it up, but are there like any trends or industries where startups are active? What are hot for you right now? Like for example, at Superangel, we are right now looking at micromobility more. Also startups who have different applications of machine learning, and especially with like visual machine learning and video, and so such trends. What are the hot topics or hot trends you are watching right now at Maki VC from deep tech side?
Yeah, from the deep tech side, so I think this material technologies, they are still something we have I mentioned the Spinnova as an example, but now like looking also at the other like sustainable materials like for many different kind of uses. So I think that's one, and then definitely also at the AI side. So we have now like well, of course, like many companies have some AI elements in their portfolio, but really like at least three like really strong ones there at the moment. Like one doing like analyzing the seizures of the epilepsy patients with an AI, then yeah, for more for the like customer service automation, and then for the like bank KYC use cases and this like enterprise process automation with an AI. I think that's definitely an area that I'm interested in, like looking at what comes after the robotic process automation. How can we use the AI to like reduce the need of doing many successive searches and from different legacy systems and so on. So how to make like a more efficient enterprises with an AI.
Mm. Yeah, it's you mentioned something which is bugging many big corporations with legacy systems, that it's not possible and economically feasible to switch like right away from the legacy systems, that you have to keep them up like for 5 10 years or even more, and at the same time you have a new upcoming solutions, and how to mix and match them without extensive development from the legacy system side. I totally share your enthusiasm that there have to be some major breakthroughs there.
yeah, absolutely. And then I think personally I'm not looking that much into like medtech side, but I think that's like the like a medtech deep tech combination. That's also something that we have done a couple of investments there.
Very cool. So what would be your last recommendation to startups, deep tech startups applying for or looking for funding and approaching to Makivc?
Well, yeah, I think approaching is easy. So just send an email to get started. So Paavo at Maki.vc, and then like I don't want to make it too complicated. So it's just like it's better to be easily approachable and not like being too picky about what you really need to say and so on. So then it comes via dialogue always.
But definitely, in order to get you excited, show the unique tech, show some market traction or market potential or understanding of a market and the customer needs, and some proof that the team is cool. Or I assume that as you wanted to make it light and easy, that you don't expect like a 10-page email, that it's with a few paragraphs, that people can also get you interested in what they are doing, and then, as you said, that in a discussion it will be revealed all the details, and you can go deeper.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you very much, Paavo. It was a pleasure talking to you here today about how Makivc is looking at deep tech startups. I really like your approach that even a deep tech startup can be a much faster grower if they think through their branding from early on, and the customer success side. That fixing mistakes in customer success with R&D is bloody awfully expensive and very difficult, and so really cool insights, and I really like what you're doing at Makivc with post investment support. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Kalev. Hey, thanks for having me here. Very good questions as well, and looking forward to have more collaboration with Superangel in the future as well.
Absolutely. And all those of you who are listening to us, it was a pleasure to have you here. I hope you learned also something new, and see you around. Until the next time.
Okay.